Hello and welcome to EV Review Ireland. My name is Reilly. Today we're going to be looking at the Kia e-Soul or Soul EV, depending on what country you're in. Let's get started.
Today's video is sponsored by EasyGo. As well as being Ireland's largest EV charging network, EasyGo supports over 10,000 Irish EV drivers to find and use more than 1,200 charge points active on the EasyGo app. This works across the island of Ireland, north and south. The team at EasyGo also provide home, workplace and public chargers together with fleet management and payment service solutions, ideal for businesses transitioning their fleets to electric vehicle driving.
Let's start at the front, work our way around the side, look in the boot, have a look in the inside and then take it for a spin. The typical EV Review Ireland format. What we're going to talk about is those familiar with the Kia e-Soul or Soul EV or Soul in general would realise that this is a combustion engine vehicle that has been electrified and hybridised. But today it's obviously the full electric version. This is the facelifted version, so I'll put up on the screen what the original looked like, and I really like this design. Some people don't. Some people think that it's too boxy, it's too out there. It's very much like an Asian, like a Nissan Cube, kind of Japanese looking, even though it is a Korean design. Starting at the top of the bonnet, you've got this lovely sculpt in there. Then you've got this lovely light bar that comes along with your daylight running lights. It's LED all over in this car, except for the fog lights, which are halogen. Then you'll obviously notice where the charging port is on the front, and that has AC and CCS port, apologies. You've got your front parking sensors, and then you've got your adaptive cruise control and radar unit down at the bottom, and that nice little silver trim around the edge of it as well. Overall, really like the front of it, like the design. Beautiful colours, available in 3 colours: blue, grey and silver. It's only available in one trim, so you're not going to get confused with it. On the Kia site, it has a price starting off at, and then when you select one of the colours, and there's only 3, it adds an extra €600 on. So really that should put it, the price is starting at, including the colour, so because you can't buy it without the colour. All 3 colours are €600 extra. So let's have a look along the side. But overall, I really like the design of this. Some people don't. Let me know in the comment whether you like the design or not. Obviously built on the same platform as the Hyundai Kona and the Kia e-Niro. It's a sibling. But even though this is boxier, it has a smaller boot. We'll get to that later on. So let's have a look along the side. Working our way back, you've got that headlight and that daylight running light coming along the side. Really good. You've got your reflector here. These are the Aero tyres that are on it, and they are 17-inch. Only one type that you can choose from. Standard from the factory, obviously you can put whatever you want on yourself. You've got your colour coded with your indicator in the wing mirrors, and these are power folding. You have that nice trim, the silver along the bottom, your silver door handles with keyless entry. You've got that A-pillar in black gloss, and then you've got C-pillar, but it's just part of the door itself. You've got your silver roof rails, and the capacity for that on the top is 100 kgs. And then you've got your Soul at the back with that plastic paneling, a huge, obviously, C-pillar, and then your straight end. This is the area, probably, and the front, the whole lot, the design, whether you like it or not, that'll be totally up to yourself. And you've got your shark fin aerial on the roof. This is where things get really decisive in the design, whether you like it or not. I mentioned you've got the shark fin aerial at the top. You've got the high level brake light, but this brake light goes all the way around, and this is LED. So you've got elements that are, when you press the brake pedal, will illuminate, but you've got the reversing or the rear wiper. Your Kia badge, which is the old badge now because they've rebadged, they've changed the name. You've got your Eco Electric, if you didn't know it was already electric from the front. You've got that boxed off grille. I really like the design feature of the red Soul on it. And then in underneath, where the reversing camera is, you also have the button for the actual boot release. Underneath that then, you've got your reversing sensors, and you also have your silver trim and some reflectors at the bottom as well. So here you have a solid parcel shelf. There isn't any, because it's flat open or wide open, and it is up, or you can take it out altogether. Then you have 2 levels of boot. You have, and I'll stick on the screen exactly the literage of it. You have up level, and then you can lift it up, and you can have a hidden area underneath, or you can pull it forward and it'll drop down, and you slide it in, and you have a much larger boot if you need it. This level of trim that you get here, and it's the only level of trim that you can get, has the Harman Kardon speakers in it. It also has a 12 volt, it has a light in the back as well, and then you've got 2 ISOFIX on it, so that will, you've got tie-off points. So overall, really, really good. Let's have a look on the inside. Small enough boot, but see a lot of them on the road and people do like them. So if the space works for you, the space works for you. What's it like inside the Kia e-Solar Soul EV? In Ireland, with the 3 outside colours you get to choose, but the inside it's spec'd only as the red, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't like it. It's too contrasty with the blue. I'm presuming if you had grey or the silver it wouldn't be too bad, but unless you really like red. But you have these contrasting panels. Let's start from the door and work our way over. You have your full electric suite here on the door. You've got your retractable mirrors adjustment. You've got your central lock, and you've got your front and rear, and you've got your locking rear. Not a bad size door bin. You've got that more Harman Kardon stuff on the door as well with regards to speakers. A bit of piano black around here, but you have around the center console, around the side units. So you've got your vents, but again you've got your tweeters. Underneath that then you've got your headlight level, adjustment brightness, lane keep assist, whether you want heads up display on or off. You've got your noise, and you've got your ABS control, and then in that then you've got your fuse box. The boot releases at the front. There isn't a frunk in this, but you can buy like an aftermarket tray that sits into it. I'm not sure whether Kia approve of that or not, but there's a start-stop button down along the centre tunnel. And when you turn it on, you've got your beeps and bongs a lot. Once you turn the car on, you've got that heads-up display that pops up, so it's a plastic screen that the information is projected onto. So what you have is your speed, whether you've got lane assist and cruise control on, your blind spots either side, as much as they're in the actual mirrors themselves, it comes up on that as well. It also has speed sign recognition. Decent sized steering wheel, 3-spoke. You've got your pedals behind it in relation to the levels of regenerative braking, and there's 4 levels, 0, 1, 2 and 3. And then on the actual steering wheel itself, on the right hand side you've got your cruise control, etc. Left hand side you've got your audio, so your phone, your radio, and then you've got a nice silver detail underneath. On the right hand stalk you've got your window wipers, front and rear obviously, and then on the left hand side you've got your indicators and all your lighting control. The steering wheel itself is reach and rake, so that's great. Behind that then you've got a really nice display, nice and wide. Along the top you've got your notification lights. In the middle then you've got on the left hand side the range. And when I started this off and this went down to Portlaoise, Mullingar, came back up again. But when I charge it full, and the WLTP on this is about 450 kilometers, this showed 477. So you'll get a lot of that with the Kias, Hyundais, where their range is amazing. That's one of the reasons people obviously go for them. This has a 64 kilowatt hour battery that's usable. It's about 67.5, I think, is the actual overall capacity, but usable is all you need to know. That WLTP, that range, is 450, but as I said, I was getting 477 on it. Fairly true to its nature, so you're going to get amazing range. So you get the range on the side, and it has a little icon on the top, and you'll know that whether it's a combustion or a EV, electric vehicle, the little charging symbol. So on this, it's obviously a little fuel pump with the plug on the side of it, but it has the car driving into it, so you remember that the charger is right on the front of it. They usually have a left or right hand arrow because it's on the sides. Then you've got the modes that it's in, and it has Eco, it has normal, and it has Eco Plus and Sport, so 4 modes in total. And then you have your central information section, and that can be toggled as to what you want on it. So you can have consumption info, you can have your compass, you can have lane keep assist, and then you have your settings. So my consumption so far, and I've had it for the weekend. I went down, did motorway, did down to Portlaoise, Britis, Mullingar, Ballybritis, and I was getting around about 15.7 kilowatt hours per 100. Fairly good, very good. Then on the right hand side you have your speed, but also have whether you're taking charge or putting charge back in, as temperature, and it has the kilometers that it has, this tripometer. So yeah, happy with that. Probably could be a small bit brighter, but overall decent. And then moving across, then you have this large central console that goes down the middle, and that would have been originally where the transmission tunnel is. Starting at the top, you've got your vents, then you've got your wide screen as well. And so it's really kind of broken up into 3 panels if you're using the Kia display itself. But you can also then, when you plug in Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, it takes up 2 of the 3. So all the information is on that. You have your, if you want your sat-nav, because there's built-in sat-nav in it, you have your audio, and then you have your kind of consumption information, battery percentage and range, and then it also gives the nearby EV stations. You've got your changing the ambient light, phone, voice memo, radio, electric vehicle, manual favorites, USB map information, etc. You have your physical knobs, so you've got your volume on the left, and on the right hand side you also have changing the channels on the radio, map, you have radio media setup, and you've got your hazard lights. Underneath that then you've got a separate unit for your air conditioning and heating, and then underneath that then you have, on this spec you have the wireless charging, you've got your 12 volt, you've got a USB and a little one hidden in behind as well, so 2 USB type A's. Behind that then you've got heated seats in this model. Start stop button as we talked about, the rotary dial with regards to what reverse, neutral, drive and park. You also have a heated steering wheel, parking sensors, whether you want them on or off, your drive modes, and then your auto hold, which I love in an electric vehicle, which is your automatic handbrake when you press the brake pedal enough. You've got your electronic handbrake button at the side. You've got storage behind. You've got 2 decent size cup holders. Then either side of this panel or transmission tunnel you have kind of like booklets or paper holder. You've got your armrest, and you have a fairly deep, nothing in it, storage area. Up top you've got your sunglass holder, you've got your SOS button that's protected with a little screen, and then you have your sun visors, both with concealed mirrors and little lights above it that you can have on or off. Very well appointed, small bit of plasticky with regards to the shiny gloss black and the hardware and plastics in it, but overall I don't like the red highlights. I wish this driver console was a bit brighter, but I'm nitpicking at this stage. Glove box is a fairly decent size as well, and it's a full glove box. Seats on the driver's side are electronically adjusted, and also we have lumbar support as well. On the passenger side, they are manually adjusted. Let's have a jump in the rear. Because of that boxy shape, you're going to have great headroom. You have really old style and halogen roof light in the rear. You can feel the heat off it there. Handle, and you have your coat hook, your electric windows, you have your fairly decent size handle with that center locking button as well, and you've got that accent of red as well. Actually, one thing I didn't mention was there's red stitching in the leather. You have a really it's only a pocket for a bottle in the rear, and you've got that speaker built into the door. Got a decent armrest that's fairly well cushioned. Leg room is that I'm 6'2", 187 centimeters high, and you have about an inch, 25 millimeters between me and the seat, so not so bad. You are raised up because that battery pack is underneath, and that's when you get vehicles like this that were made traditionally as a combustion engine, you're going to have that kind of, but in some of the newer ones as well, like the ID4, you're going to have this issue as well, where your feet feel a small bit raised up because that battery pack is underneath. Some manufacturers have started making wells in the rear. On the driver's side, you don't have a pocket, but on the passenger side you do, and in here this is where you have the manual, but it could be in the glove box as well. You've got one 12 volt, sorry, it looks like a 12 volt, but when you actually open up it, it's a USB type A. You've got ISOFIX 2 in the rear. You have your armrest with your cup holders in it. Yeah, decent size, and I love the little windows in the C-pillar because it's obviously boxed off. It's great to have that extra bit of light coming into it as well. As mentioned, you don't get any optional extras on the Kia e-Soul or Soul EV here in Ireland. It's one trim. The only thing you get to choose is the colour, but otherwise it's not bad. Not bad in the rear. Let's take it out for a spin.
If you think this car is for you, you can contact EasyGo and register for the app by clicking the link on the screen or in the description.
What's it like driving the Kia e-Soul or Soul EV? I have to say both because it's the same car in different continents. It's a lovely driving position. I would like if the seat went a small bit lower, but I just find myself, I prefer being that bit lower down. But because it's such a vertical car, it's really, really good. A lot of people will have forgotten that this was World Car of the Year 2020. World Car of the Year for 2021 is the Volkswagen ID4. So a lot of journalists around the world felt that this was the best car in the world. So don't disregard that. Some other features that it has that I didn't mention already, it has that UVO app. And that before you start, you can make sure that it is preheated, pre-cooled, set the temperature, do all that charge and stuff. So that's all good. Price of the Kia e-Soul here in Ireland is 36,912.88. But as I mentioned when I was outside, it has the 3 colour options, and each of those colour options are €600, and you have to pick one of the colours. So really the price is 37,513.12. So don't forget the likes of that. In the United Kingdom, this comes in, and other markets as well, it comes in a 39 kilowatt hour battery usable, and a 64 kilowatt battery usable. So if you are bringing this in to Ireland from the United Kingdom as a second-hand vehicle, just make sure you understand which size battery you get, because in Ireland, at the very beginning they did the both sizes, but at the moment, and for a while, it has only been the 64 kilowatt hour battery. WLTP on that, as I mentioned, is 452. When I got into this, when I went for the down the country yesterday, it was showing 477. So an amazing range. With that size battery, you'd expect it, but always great to get it. So the Kia Soul has an electric motor of 150 kilowatts. That gives you 204 PS and 395 newton meters of torque. So it is no slouch by any means. Not that you'll be doing wheel spins. I found it with the Kona I was, but this seems to be a bit more grounded and a bit more even in the throttle. But powerful enough, no problem with that at all. You're going to get 0 to 100 in 7.9 seconds and a max range of 167 kilometers an hour. I don't know why we talk about max range, like nobody in Ireland is going to be going that kind of speed. When we talked about the range and the WLTP being 452 and me starting off with 477 when I went on that bit of a road trip yesterday down to Midlands, the average you're going to be getting is around, depending on the weather, depending on your driving style and whether you're on the motorway or not, probably around the 370 to 380 would be a good benchmark. But that all depends on the ambient temperature outside and your driving style. But a lot of Soul owners, a lot of Kia owners, electric Kia owners, and Hyundai are always very complimentary of the range. And I've always been getting that as well, as for the small length of time that I get to get these press cars. This Kia e-Soul is front wheel drive. And somebody has asked and requested in the comments that I talk about the drag coefficient, because electric vehicle owners are very interested in that side of things. So hopefully moving forward, I'll talk about that. So the drag coefficient of the Kia e-Soul is 0.35. So not very aerodynamic, but you wouldn't need to be a rocket scientist to figure that out with the shape of it from outside. Some of the driver's assist, and I've already talked about them when I was doing the external review, is you've got your lane keep, your smart cruise control, and also your blind spot assists on the heads-up display and also on the side rear view mirrors. It also has auto wipes and auto eye lights, which a lot of these things you take for granted, but then when they're not in something like the reversing camera is another thing that it has. Like, that's not a standard in the Audi e-tron GT. It's an extra €600, and that's a €100,000 car. So sometimes don't take these things for granted. Manufacturers do put them in, or even distributors when they're bringing them into the country, spec them out to make good sense. Charging the Kia e-Soul, it has an onboard AC charger of 7.2 kilowatts, and it takes about 10.5 hours, so an overnight job. And then DC, it has a 77 max peak DC charging, and then from 10 to 80% takes around about 44 minutes. Going back to what I'd actually like to drive, as I mentioned, I like the seating position. Went into a lot of facts and figures there, but the steering wheel is well weighted. It's a good size. I like the throttle response. I think the brakes are well weighted as well. And the suspension, as much as it's going to be a heavy car with such a large battery underneath it, we're coming up to a speed bump here now. I don't find it too heavy. I don't find it too soft, too hard of suspension. I like the heads-up display. A lot of people are talking about the augmented reality one, but this is perfect, even though it looks a small bit dated. There's going to be a lot of questions about what's going to happen, whether they'll keep this on, and I think they'll probably will, because with the Kia EV6, beautiful looking car, but it's going to be much more expensive than this is. It's going to be up over probably 50,000 euros here in Ireland. But driving-wise, good little, very little road noise. Yeah, can't fault it. Let me know in the comments if you own a Kia e-Soul or Soul EV, what do you think of it? And if you're thinking of buying one, what you'd like to know about it. There'll be lots of owners watching this video, so it's always great to get that feedback from other owners, but also if I can answer the question, I will as well.
Just a reminder that today's video was sponsored by EasyGo, who are now offering a year's free driving when EasyGo installs a charger at your home or business. For more info or to submit for a quote, click the link on the screen or in the description.
That's my look around the Kia e-Soul or Soul EV. It's been a while before I had this on the channel. They're hard to get, and that, I suppose, proves its popularity, even though the design is divisive. Great to get it on the channel, number one. Number two, I really enjoyed this car. I think it's a great EV. In my opinion, if you're looking for range, you're obviously between this, you're between the Kona, you're between the e-Niro, and now there are other larger SUVs coming into the market like the ID4, etc. But this still stands out in the road. It is a design. You're making a statement when you're driving this, so some people don't like that. They think it's too quirky. Some people think it looks like the Nissan Cube, but it does have that boxy Asian look to it. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's review. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Kia e-Soul or Soul EV. Give it a like. Make sure you've already subscribed to the channel. And remember, if you think an EV is for you, leave it to me and I'll review. Thanks so much for watching.